We'll start. Well, I'd like to welcome Casey Roballo, as you see, a good friend of mine from, So Casey works he does stunts, camera work, mainly setup, camera setup.
I do a lot of camera setup. I do a lot of like what's called a camera dolly, like when like you got the camera and it's like mounted on like a cart or whatever, that kind of thing. There are like several different carts. And the fun part of that is like depending on who your camera operator is, how hard you have to work, not just like how often you have to move, but I had a couple camera operators that were like 300 plus, and so I'm pushing them 800-pound cart and a camera. So yeah, that's not the fun is. So.
Before we begin, I just need one person who wants to work in the back. Who would like to work in the back?
I stole.
No.
Yeah. So that's like just some swag that I got because part of what we filmed, on Avengers, we were in like Scotland for a little bit. I chose not to go because like everybody wants to go to Scotland. I'm like everybody but me because like we're gonna go and we're gonna work 17-hour days and the weather sucks. So I didn't go. I came up here and I worked on Equalizer 2 instead. But they were nice enough to bring me back like some like swag, as we call it. So on every show or whatever, at the end of it, if you're there long enough, they give you like, like happy little like goodie bags with like stuff in it. So yeah, that was the bottom hat. That was the top hat. The bottom one was when I was on Thor Ragnarok or whatever. So they gave me that hat, which didn't fit me. The scarf was from Scotland, but the hat didn't fit me. I like, because this. So. And one of the big things in the film industry is like, who wants to work a job where nobody cares what your hair looks like? No, be honest. Like, who wants to work in a job where nobody cares what your hair looks like? Yeah, look. Nobody cares. Like, you can have short hair, green hair, purple hair, no hair. You can have like one hair just like this in your face, and the only thing that matters is that you show up and do your job. So. There are 4 main rules to make it in like the film industry. Rule 1, be on time. I'm sure all of you have heard that by now, but on time means half an hour early. If your call time or the time you're supposed to be there is 7 o'clock, that's what time work starts. You don't show up at 6:55, you don't show up at 7, you get there at 6:30. And from 6:30 to like 6:50, you go get breakfast, you like, hang out, sit in your car and like, try to wonder what happened in life, whatever. But at 7 o'clock, because it's all union, you've got somebody who just starts yelling, we're in. And at that point, that's when all your tools are together, everything, and you just start going. So it's just like rule 1 is like be on time. It's really that simple. Rule 2, do your job. Every single individual like person, every single individual department has a role. It's camera, if it's electrical, if it's makeup, if it's rigging, if it's actors, if it's stunts. Every part has something important to do, and so if you're not doing your part, like think about like how much of your body it takes just to do that. You know what I mean? You got your wrist, you got your fingers, you got your palm, your elbow, your shoulder. You know what I mean? Literally just to do that. Now, if my fingers weren't working, right? If my fingers weren't doing their job, or if my elbow, so everybody has a part to play. You know what I mean? The whole like no small parts, that kind of thing. That goes for even behind the camera. Because if my job is like, setting up this truss, right? And I don't tighten my end, but that end's tight, it's not going to work, right? So again, rule 1. Anybody? Rule 1? Rule 2? There you go. Simple. Rule 3, y'all are going to laugh. Ready? Rule 3 is take a shower. God in heaven. You're like stuck in some small spaces sometimes with people, and yeah, there's nowhere to go. You're just there. And so just nobody wants that. I would tell you a story, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll just say like I was on this show called The Americans, and there was like a grip who like just like did not follow rule 3, and so everybody actually after a couple weeks of talking like chipped in, went to like the Walgreens and got a bunch of like hygiene stuff and said like pulled the person aside and was like, you either need to use this or go home. Yeah, it gets bad. So that right there is, okay, before I even go, how many of you actually seen the last 2 Avengers movies? Okay, So like that big A that's like up there, the big Avenger symbol, that took 21 of us, 2 flatbed trucks and 2 cranes to put up. You can see it in the corner there. And there was a picture that was on there a minute ago with me with like a really, really not happy face. Yeah, that one. That's because after all that work, we put it up, and the art director has the authority to say, hey, can we move that over? We had to move it over a foot to the left. For 1 foot, took us 4 hours because we had to take it down. That's in 3 pieces. We had to take it down, bring the cranes back in, measure, move motors over, and then bring it back up a foot. Yeah, we also had to move a plane once, 3 feet. It's just move the camera. So you will come across a lot of like ridiculous questions. So, yeah. So I'm sure you guys recognize that shield. So yeah, I snagged it. So actually, the important part about that, that and the next picture, is, oh, you guys have like a lot of green screen you do here. Who knows what dictates if you use blue screen or green screen? The what? Yes, and there's one other thing.
Audio?
Nope.
It's like the blue screen works better.
Nope. Nope, they work the exact same. The 2 things that, what do you got? What you guess? No, because I guarantee you that the reason is even more obnoxious than you would think. So.
The amount of light needed, like.
Nope, because that's too intelligent of an answer. Nope.
Keep people out.
Nope. The reason between the blue screen and green screen is the color of the actor's eyes.
Wow.
If you have blue eyes and you're in front of a blue screen, the image will show up in your eyes. Yeah. Yeah. So like on Superman, I forget which one it was. It was supposed to be called Killer Frost. I forget what it ended up being called. But we had to use all green screen, of course, because Superman's wearing blue. You can't have blue, because then you would just have his head, a cape, and a symbol going in front of like a city, and you know.
Is this a sound stage right
No, that is a soundstage. That was in Fayetteville, Georgia. If you notice on the left there, that's the front of Dr. Strange's house, which was supposed to be like New York. So what we did was we painted the streets and put up blue screen, and we made Manhattan in Fayetteville, Georgia. So like the blue screen was all like, we just had like the cities and like all that other stuff. And then the difference between the blue and the green over there simply was because we didn't have any blue screen that size. It literally does the same thing. There's no change in the video. There's no change in what you have to do or editing or anything. It's just literally.
What's those is that plywood on the street there?
Yeah, it's painted plywood to replicate the steel plates that are in the city when you do construction. It's just like literally they're like 4x8 sheets of plywood that the art department paints.
And the trailers in the background, is that for the actors?
Yeah, the one on the right, the white one, is actually the wardrobe trailer, and the one on the left is one of the actors who just decided that they wanted their trailer parked there because they were entitled. So yeah, you have some actors that are like phenomenal, and you got some actors that are just like, you know, like the world revolves around me kind of thing, and it's just like, it's really funny, the difference. That's a cave that we built for whatever the scene was. And that's me after a 17-hour day, after setting up like a skate pod. So real quick, so I don't know if all of you did it or whatever, but I asked Mr. Party to have each of you like write down like 3 questions you want to ask. Sweet. So of your 3, like we're gonna start with like each of you like picking like 1 question, and then like we'll go like kind of zigzag back around. So.
Okay.
So you do stunt double, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to have like qualifications to get into that? Like how do you become a stunt double?
Oh, so how you become one is literally like right place, right time, because that's literally like what happens. Your qualifications, it all depends on what they call you for. Okay, so to rephrase, if you're like phenomenal at like horseback riding, motorcycle, and like fencing, like literally, you'll never get called to like swim 100 yards and like, you know, like fight a shark. It's just not gonna happen. So like mine, because I was in the Marine Corps, a lot of mine, like my weapons training and stuff like that, I've done a lot of driving, so precision driving and like falls and like stuff like that, fighting. I have like a large like fight background, so I get called to do that stuff. I've ridden a motorcycle exactly. Oh yeah, no. I do dirt bikes, but that's not, you know what I mean? So I will never get called for like motorcycles and stuff like that. So it's just, you know. And stunt coordinators and co-coordinators know what you're good at when they get your information. You know what I mean? So they'll narrow it down and then they pick from there. And then some of it goes with look, all depends if you're doubling somebody. Some of it doesn't matter. Like there's like a clip where I had to double like a woman, and the only thing that matched was like our skin tone, and like I have dreads. But then they used like 100 bobby pins to like put my hair up like this under a police thing. And a week later, I went like this and was still pulling bobby pins out of my hair. So yeah, and they have fun with makeup.
You want to show this now or wait?
Oh yeah, so there it is right there. So it's like it took us like 3 hours to do this one scene, and it all happens in under like 4 seconds. So I'm the cop right there. Ready? That's me. That's it. It took hours for us to do that. That's it. And so what happens there is like the way they edit, and all of you who are into editing will love it. In the back of my shirt, I actually have like 3 wires like grabbing me, one around my waist, one mid-back, and one at my shoulders. And the wire goes down this way, it goes up to pulleys, over, down another set of pulleys, and there are 3 guys standing on a 4-step ladder. And they say, 3, 2, 1, go. And the 3 guys jump, grab the rope, and pull, and I just get tossed backwards. And because the woman I was doubling was, I think she was like 5'4", something like that. So you have to keep your back straight, bend your knees like this, but keep the weight off your toes without moving, so that way there's like less, so you can go backwards. And just like, yeah, and all that for like 4 seconds of footage. So there was another thing I had to do where I had to get like shot. I was a drug dealer. Shot.
Show this clip or?
Which clip? Oh, that's from the prison thing. Hold on one sec. So essentially, like, I just had to come out of like an apartment and get shot and fall down like 2 flights of stairs. It was like, yeah. And then what they do, which is really neat, is they have these things called porta pits. It's just like pads that you land on. Yay, it's good, until they say, okay, we're changing the camera angle and we're moving the pad. No, because that's concrete. So I fell down 2 flights of stairs and tried not to hit my face on concrete. Neat. All right, so this was a fight scene that we were rehearsing for this prison movie. Like I said, I ended up like getting beat up and shot like later on in the episode.
You want to show the pictures first?
No, you can just show that. It's already there. So you see my shoulders were actually all padded up. So, and the guy, the bald guy, this big guy here, actually no, he's the NFL. There was the 2 bald guys, and there was another couple guys there. They're all actually UFC fighters. So they, like I said, they pick you based on like specialties and stuff like that. So like I have like a large like fight background, and so they just grabbed like 36 of us, like actually had like large fight backgrounds, put us with these NFL guys and UFC guys, and like, all right, we're gonna like do some fight things. Like, oh, yeah, okay. So that's how that went. Yeah, that's me after I got shot in the head. You see, it didn't take effect. So, yeah, and that was another. We did one scene where I got beat up, and then another scene where I got shot. Like, so yeah. All right, your question.
What's your favorite part? Like, what's your favorite thing
Food.
that you do?
Eating. I'm not kidding. I eat a lot. So you mean like at work?
Yes.
Oh, eating. So the catering is okay. Never mind. But as far as like work, as far as the stunt aspect of it, I like all of it. And believe it or not, I like how much we get to work out, because I work out like a lot. And so when you're doing stunts, one of the things is like you're getting paid to be in shape. Like sometimes I'll get notified like a good like week or even a couple months in advance. Okay, so we're gonna have you do this and this. we're gonna have you like double so and so, like this guy like Tate Diggs, whatever. He's like my height, but like he's like built. I'm like, oh, neat. So I got actually paid to up my protein and up my workouts. And then when I got to work, I got paid to literally just like grab dumbbells and like sit there like this. So like that's crazy. But I actually love just the organized chaos on set. You know, it's like there's a lot of like run around, like whatever, and it looks crazy. But again, going back to what I said before, if everybody does their job, you know what I mean? Like people are going like this, but you can like you intertwine like really well. So that's like, I guess my favorite part is like the organized chaos. See, that like go back. I eat a lot, a lot. Like I had 2 of those. It's like yeah, like that was described as like they take us out to eat sometimes, and that sandwich was actually described as a hamburger with an unhealthy portion of pulled pork. That's what the menu said. And so I had to get it, and it was good. And like 15, 20 minutes later, I got another one.
Is it like dangerous to do stunt doubles, or like are you always like cool stuff, or?
No. No. It's perfectly safe all the time. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. It's things can go wrong, like of course, you know, whatever. But stunts, literally, like all jokes aside, is actually one of the safest things you can possibly do on set, because we have coordinators, co-coordinators, the director of photography, first and second assistant director, second assistant director, and like whatever, all making sure that what we're doing is all set. And then we have when we do like fires, getting set on fire sucks. We have like a special effects department that we work with and stuff like that. So it's like everything that like looks extremely dangerous is like not really at all, like, you know. So that's like one of the safest jobs we can have. I actually ran into more problems being a medic on set than I ever did like falling like 25 feet. Yeah.
What's your most dangerous stunt that you've done? And like for what? Like what movie?
For what movie? Actually, it was for like an insurance commercial. Yeah, getting set on fire, and I never actually saw the commercial at all. No, it's like my hair was this at the time. So what they do when you get set on fire is I have to like put my hair back like this, right? Mat it down to my head. Then they put this like gel. It's like petroleum jelly. Like smear your hair with it. It's horrendous. Then you always wear like Under Armour. Like I'm just like so accustomed to wearing it. You always wear like Under Armour, and then you get this. They come with ice buckets, like buckets of ice water.
So you actually got set on fire?
Yeah, it's like anytime you see somebody on fire on TV, it's like, oh, that sucks. Oh, that looks so cool. It looks cool. It's meant to look cool, but being the like, yeah, no, it doesn't hurt. It's just you're not allowed to breathe. So you get layers of stuff on, and it's all soaked in like ice water to keep you cool. And that's really neat, except when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and it's already cold outside. Fantastic. So they put it all on you, and all is like, it's flame retardant material. And retardant, if you like don't know, when you like have like a sleep bag and it's like, oh, flame retardant, just means that it takes that material a little while to go, what's that hot stuff? Oh, suck, and then it goes on fire. So it's like, it still is flammable. So you get all that stuff on. Then you get your wardrobe on, because you have to match whatever actor or whatever person you're doing. And then that is actually coated in a fire accelerant. So you got like flame retardant stuff here and a fire accelerant on you. Then they put like a wig on you, and then all this like ridiculous makeup, so you match the actor or whatever. Then they're nice enough to smear your face with flame retardant stuff, and then they put a mask on you, and then they smear that with a fire accelerant. Yeah. And so when you stand, when you're, let me drop this mic, this thing's probably expensive. Well, that's not expensive. So when you're getting ready to do it, you take your position, and there's a guy right here with a torch, or like some sort of incendiary device. It could be a road flare. Getting lit up, road flare sucks. So you wait, and they say, all right, 3, 2, 1, light them. and they light you. And when the flame reaches here, you hold your breath. So then it just like, it completely engulfs you, and you run around like, you know, whatever, and then you're holding your breath the entire time. And then when you feel that you're at the edge of not being able to hold your breath anymore, you lay on the ground and you go like, you know, can I say it? Spread eagle, because that's what we call it. You lay like completely down, and as soon as you do that, they spray you with a fire extinguisher to put you out. And then you wait, make sure you're out, and then you do this. You give them a thumbs up to let them know that you're not hurt. The entire time you're holding your breath, because who wants to breathe in flames? No. Who wants to breathe in the chemicals from a fire extinguisher? No. So literally, that's like, it's like maybe like a 20 to 30 second burn, but you're holding your breath for upwards of 45 seconds. If you have to do retakes? Yeah, they just take the outer wardrobe off, smear you with more flame retardant stuff, put the new wardrobe on, smear you with fire accelerant, and they say, all right, when you're ready, we're going to go again.
Can we see the commercial? Do you know what it's called?
See the what?
Commercial that it was for?
I've never seen it myself.
Like what company?
No, not even a little bit. I know the paycheck cleared. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I do that I've not seen, and Mr. Party knows I typically don't watch anything that I've worked on, because it's like going to work again. So yeah, that's Jessica Jones, and again, she like wanted to take that picture to say hi to my wife. Yeah, she's like, hey, we should say hi to Mary, and she took that picture. This, huh?
The Marvel Netflix show.
Yeah, Jessica Jones. Yep. And so, again, like, we had to do green screen on the floor and that, because there's a scene where they come out on the balcony and they're supposed to be like looking down on the street. And so is that. Sometimes you get like really cool locations. We were on like a beach for like 3 days, and it was phenomenal. Like, we actually got to go to Western New York and like hang out on a beach. So that was a rough day. Your question. And if you guys, excuse me, if any of you had like questions, like Mr. Party's like controlling the speed of that. So if you have any questions on what's on there, because I'm looking this way and I literally have like no idea what's popping up over there. So if
Can you tell us what that is?
that is it's a Phoenix arm, I think.
Is it like a camera?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to remember which one that is. I can't see all of it. But it's on a Chapman dolly, and so pushing that dolly with the camera on it is one thing, but pushing that dolly with a 300-pound like camera operator and like a huge camera on it is like a whole other thing. There's like different ways to like turn the wheels, and like we can put that on like railroad ties or railroad tracks kind of thing. So we do that a lot. When we did the movie The Girl on a Train, we had like to push that thing 300 feet, which is a lot.
So I didn't really say you have to hold your breath for like fire.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same thing for when you're doing like the ones like where you sit on there, you got like shot or whatever? Like,
No, for like only when you have to be dead. So the one that's all. Like, go back one. Wait, the other back. That one. That's all iced tea. But anyway, no, when you like, you can do whatever, but like then the camera angle changes, so it's like actually on you or whatever, and so you have to like, you don't really hold your breath as so much as slow your breath, because you never know how long the that one take is gonna be. And so if you hold your breath, unless you can hold your breath like pretty good for like 2 minutes, you don't want to hold your breath. So what you do is you do these low, shallow breaths, so your chest isn't seen like moving and up and down.
is there like anything specific like or in particular that you were like inspired by to do this job?
Money. No, because prior to like working on the movie in the movie industry, I was an EMT for like years, and like yeah, I won't even get into like the medical field aspect of it, but God bless anybody who's like still doing it. But no, I was just made an offer or whatever by a stunt coordinator on this movie called Paul Blart Mall Cop back in, I think it was like '08 or whatever. I don't know how many of you remember '08. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, he like made me an offer, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's see what happens, and then everything like snowballed from there. So,
What's the most famous person you met?
name somebody, like.
Last time you met Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I met Ryan I worked on a couple things with him. Like I said, Mark Ruffalo, who plays like Incredible Hulk. My kids know him as Uncle Mark. Like we've been friends for like 20 years. You know what I mean? I've known John for like maybe 8 years, and that was actually, I forget what season of Punisher that was, but we had, before he became Punisher, we've known each other, and I was like, he came on set, and we started just, Casey, it's Scarlett, what's up? We did the whole like old buddy thing, and we had this desk set up, you know, like much like over here. We had his desk and everything set up, and like, all right, we're gonna get ready to go, and he went and sat down. I had no idea why he was there, because it was episode 1 of season 1. I had no idea why he was there. We were just talking. He goes, all right, you know, we'll catch up more in a minute, and he went and sat down. I was like, John, you're the Punisher? He goes, yeah, well, you know. I said, yeah, well, you know. I was like, so, like, that was our first time seeing each other in like 3 years.
That's awesome. What was your favorite film to be part of?
Favorite film to be part of? Believe it or not, Paul Blart Mall Cop. It was like one of the dopiest movies I worked on, but it was like, it was hysterical because we got like full run of the mall, like, which sounds weird, sounds completely weird, but the mall is a completely different place when, 1, there's nobody really in it, and 2, you can go wherever you want. There's so many back doors, secret passages, and stuff like that in a mall. Like, there's so many, like, you know, there'll be like a door that says like sprinkler room, and it's not. It's like a hallway. It's like there's like behind every store, there's like it's like there's like secret panels and things, and so we got to, in the Burlington Mall, and I forget the other mall we were at, Braintree, yeah, the Braintree Mall. Like we got to like explore like secret panels and doors and passageways and like stuff like that, and those of us that were like small enough to fit, we were like crawling through doing like, you know, like Die Hard like scenes with like lighters and stuff. It was pitiful, but yeah, so Mall Cop was like one of my favorite movies, and then, you know, like Avengers was one of my other favorites, and then as far as TV shows, they almost all blend. They almost all blend. Like I'll see like a trailer for something, and then like, wow, okay, that looks kind of familiar. Just like whatever, it just blended, and then I'll look again, and I'm like, oh, wait, I remember building that. Oh crap, I was on that, you know, so like they literally all blend. My mortgage is taken care of. Yeah, that literally all depends on how hard you work, how much you work, and literally how well you're liked. And I say that because a lot of times you hear the whole like, oh, you know, it's all about like who you know, it's all about who you know. It's not. Nothing is about who you know at all. It's all about who knows you. Okay? So it's a matter of like, what's your name? John? Johan. Okay. No, I'm going to call you your name. Don't never settle. Okay? So my name, as you can see, is literally 2 letters. That's literally my name. I got all kinds of people. What does it stand for? It stands for KC. That's why it's KC. So like, yeah, no. So the thing is, if you call somebody, you know, be it an actor, be it like somebody in the production team, be it like another like person in your industry or your department, excuse me, when they pick up the phone, do they greet you by name, or do they go, who's this again? Or, you know what I mean? So if you call somebody who knows you, then that means that you've actually elevated in like certain things. Like I have directors I call, I have stunt coordinators I call, you know, this one guy who like he did the last like 4 or 5 James Bond movies. He lives in the UK. You know what I mean? I can call Gary Powell, and he'll just answer, hey, how are things on the other side of the pond? And you know what I mean? We'll talk about our kids and like stuff like that. You know, so there's like a word, nepotism, and it's like as much as you try to avoid it, almost everything that you do in the film industry and stuff depends on who knows you, how well you did on the previous job. Like, I got my job on Avengers, Infinity War, because of somebody who I knew in accounting. Had nothing to do with my relationship with, like, the actors, had nothing to do with who I knew on set. Literally, somebody in accounting talked to one of the rigging grips, and he was having problems finding good help, and she said, oh, I got a guy I work with in Massachusetts all the time. He does this, this, and this. And then he called me and said, hey, you want to come down to Georgia and help me with a small movie we've got going? He didn't tell me what it was. He waited for me to say yes when I was available. I was on X-Men New Mutants at the time. And I said, yeah, you know, like, we just got to do like some falls on this and I'll be done in like 2 weeks. He's like, all right, great. And it's the Avengers. And he hung up the phone. So everything's about who knows you, how well you do. And again, if you follow like the 4 rules, I hadn't gotten to the rule 4 yet, but be on time, do your job, take a shower. 3 rules. That's it. And another thing is, if you end up in film school, if you end up at like sales, you end up at like Emerson or something like that, yay! Nobody cares. Even a little bit. Because there are a lot of jobs on like the film set that don't require a degree. They don't require external training. They just like require you to show up and literally follow the 4 rules. So there are a lot of times when people come to set like, oh, I shouldn't have to do this. I got my degree from like neat. Grab the C-stand and go over there. You know, everybody is important, and like literally, like TV would have you believe that the director is like so important. Like, yeah, the director. The director's like the Queen of England. Just there in title alone has no actual authority whatsoever. Like, that's really it.
What was like the longest like production-wise film you've done?
The longest. Are we talking like how many days or how many hours per day? So hours per day, I would say, was the show Blind Spot. We were doing like between 14 and 16 hour days. And like having to go back to work between like 6 and 7 hours later. As far as days, Edge of Darkness was pretty long. We had like 2 months added on to the end of that. Avengers 3 and 4 were long because it was supposed to be like one thing and ended up being like 2 movies that we did like back to back. And we had a lot of us peeled off and went over to Thor Ragnarok because it was like being filmed like right. So if this was the building we were in for Avengers, the group of buildings, Thor Ragnarok was like right there. So they're like, all right, and so they pulled us off. So I was only supposed to be down in Georgia for like 3 weeks, and I was down there for almost a year. So yeah, I had to get an apartment in Georgia because I was staying with a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, I'll be down here for 3 weeks. And 4 months later, I was like, all right, I got to find something. So
Does that happen a lot where they're actually
yes, yes. What was it? I've had a lot of shows where I was only supposed to be there for a day. And I ended up there for 4 seasons. Like Ghost, like this one, if you want, you guys can look at this. I forgot I even had it. It's like, this is a bunch of like sets that we've like done and built and stuff like that. So like some of them are the computer rendition and some of them are actual like what we built. So I don't know, just throw it that way. Like if you don't want to look at it, don't feel that you have to. Like literally it's like picture of sets. So like length of time, like time has no meaning, like at all. Sleep isn't real and time has no meaning. It's like, you know, I don't know how to do the Jedi thing, but like there is no sleep here. There is no like time, like it means nothing. Or like, I don't know, Doctor Strange, how does he do this thing? Yeah, see, like I knew my boy would know.
What plans are you working on right now?
I'm not at all. I just went like in my time off because there's the writer strike or whatever and the actor strike that were happening. So I finished Ghost, this one here, in August, and then I don't sit still well, like at all. Like so I decided to like take a welding course and become a certified welder, because every little bit that you know, every additional license you have, every certification makes you more valuable. Like I, out of boredom one day, decided, like, again, we were off. I decided to like study and work with the explosives team and became a pyrotechnician, a licensed pyrotechnician.
and then now I'll get called to like literally like blow things up. Or they're like, wait, you're pyro and you do stunts? Yeah, all right, well, come in. We're gonna like set you on fire for a hotel kitchen. See, no, wait, what? I don't know how those two things melded at all. So yeah, this way. You can get another question. One sec.
Like, how did you get into the business of doing what you do, like movies and stuff?
I started out as background, just one of those like random like people that mean nothing and like walking back and forth. And I was talking to a production assistant, one of the PAs, and he introduced me to a stunt coordinator. And the stunt coordinator asked me, he's like, "Well, what do you do when you're not here? You're not at work?" I was like, "Well, I'm an EMT." He's like, "No, what do you do like for fun, your hobbies or whatever?" And at the time, I raced jet skis, I played semi-pro football, and I was like heavy into like my martial arts and stuff like that. And he said, "Oh, well, you'd fit in with us." And next thing you know, I got a phone call to go fall down some stairs. And like that was 16 years ago, and I've done nothing but stuff like that since. It's like literally like, it's all about who knows you. Like the PA knew me, introduced me to a stunt coordinator, and now the stunt coordinator knows me. And so it's just like it's a ladder.
What was it like meeting like Jim Caviezel? Like, what? I think you met him in one of the pictures. You put
Jim.
Jesus Christ and like Passion of the Christ. Maybe it's the wrong person, but it was what? But anyway, like, what's it like meeting like a lot of the big actors? Like,
It's literally no different than meeting somebody in like a class that you've taken for the first time. It's just like, hey, I'm da da da, like, you know, like, and I've had some people like introduce themselves to me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I know who. All right, cool. You know, it's literally like you don't treat them any different than you treat anybody else. Like literally, it's just whatever. You know.
and sorry, but how did you meet Mark Ruffalo? Like, 'cause
You know, it's like 20 years. I literally don't even remember. I literally don't even remember. It's like, you know, like those friends that you've had for like so long that like, how'd you guys meet? I don't know. I just turned around, he was there. You know, like I have like no idea. And it just like snowballed. Like one day I was talking to one of my kids on the phone. Like my kid was like probably like 6, and I was like explaining why Daddy's still at work. Oh, Daddy was supposed to be home like 8 hours ago. Yeah, Daddy's got like 3 more hours left at work. And I had it on speaker, and Mark just came over and like started talking to one of my kids, and it just like is from there. You know what I mean? Here, like I said, here we are, like 20 years later.
Avenger?
Huh?
Is he your favorite Avenger?
No. It's like teaching Chris Pratt how to do Spider-Man push-ups was like one of my like fun things, because stunts, we all had like our own gym, and so it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We're in there like working out and doing our thing, and I was doing these things called Spider-Man push-ups, and all I just saw like a pair of feet right there, and a hand came down. He's like, "Hey, I'm Chris." I was like, "Yeah, neat." Shook his hand or whatever. I didn't pay attention. And anytime I work outside of Massachusetts, everybody calls me Boston. You get like stupid nicknames. So I was like, "Yeah, hey, I'm Boston," whatever. Shook, and I just kept doing them. He's like, "What the are those?" He's like, "You never done Spider-Man push-ups?" And next thing you know, he's like down with me, and I'm teaching him. And then I left the gym, and he had like a full beard and a hat on backwards and like gym attire. I'm like, I don't, whatever. And then later on, I saw him on set, whatever. He had his beard shaved. He was in like the full thing, and of course, didn't mean anything to me. And then he actually came up to me, shook my hand. He's like, "Man, I was doing those push-ups for like an hour." I was like, "What push? Oh, hey, what's up, man?" And that's when I realized who it was. So yeah.
What's it like traveling everywhere to work on this project?
What was it? What?
What's it like traveling everywhere to work on this project?
Sucks. I mean, it's not bad. Well, you want the truth, or you want like the glorious? The truth? It sucks. It really does. Because I've got 4 kids. You know, like my kids are 21, 18, 13, and 5, and I'm old. So a lot of people like say, "Oh yeah, it's awesome working on movies. It's awesome working on whatever, but they don't take into account how long you're away from home. You know what I mean? So like I said, like I was supposed to be down in Georgia for 3 weeks. That's what my kids were prepared for. And when they flew me home so I could get stuff and fly back and actually have stuff down there. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Daddy's gonna be gone for a couple months. You know, so it's like they actually get to come with me on different sets and stuff like that. Like my kids have seen like all sorts of different sets and everything. So like that's the hard part about it. Like living in a hotel, like it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's fun for a little while. It's fun when you can like change or like at small intervals. But yeah, traveling definitely takes a toll.
Is this between shoots right now?
No, that's me actually pretending to sleep because I have like this whole thing where if I find like something that looks comfortable, I will pretend to sleep and like take pictures and just like I'll send them to people like, hey, I'm bored on set. This is me like spending my day. And really that was like maybe like a minute and a half of my day during like a coffee break. Somebody pointed out to me that it's funny that I randomly, because I'll just be on the phone, and I'll like randomly sit at like a desk. I don't care whose desk it is. It's like, look, it's a seat, nobody's there. I'm on the phone. I sit down, and somebody will come along and take my picture. And then a guy I worked with for like 10 years, he's like, I have a picture of you sitting at every desk we've ever filmed at. So then it just became a thing. That's on Ghost. It just became a thing where if there's a desk, somebody has me sit at it, so they take my picture. Do you have another question? You had 3.
If you wanted to do like just do like a background person, like an extra, like
Yeah.
where would you even go to do that?
Here in Massachusetts, you would call Boston Casting. And their website is really easy to remember. It's Boston Casting. That's literally it. And they do things like movies, commercials, like modeling, pose, like all kinds of stuff. That's how I actually became background in Mall Cop, was I called Boston Casting. And they, we're looking for background for these days. All right, cool. And I went and it just goes from there. So, yeah. With your parents' permission, I'm supposed to say. Yeah, like literally like get a hold of Boston Casting and like have your parents like sign you up and like literally it goes from there. And my daughter started modeling with Model Club or some whatever when she was like 4. And then she actually did a lot of modeling and some commercials until she was like 16.
What has been like your least favorite thing to do?
Ready? Work in the cold. Like literally because, yeah, that's that when you see like a grenade being thrown like on Captain America.
Yeah.
That's like when he like
That's the grenade?
that's not the actual grenade, but that's one of. So like when he pulls off the truck and goes like, and he throws it and he jumps on it.
Yeah.
It's a foam grenade. Like we have stuff like that around my house all the time, and it's so weird to like tell like one of my like kids, especially my 5-year-old, seriously put the grenade down, drop the axe, and eat dinner. Like, yeah, it's random, but
Oh, that's comic films
the.
Do you take stuff on set all the time?
No. Not at all. Depends on what it is. Yeah, like there are a lot of things that like I'll ask, and if it's like something piddly like that, somebody from special effects will just go by me and like throw it to me. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. But yeah, so like it's as light it is, like seriously, like they'll drill like a little hole like right there, poke a little hole, and they put the little like key ring and a bobby pin in it, and they pull it. And, Wah! You know what I mean? And like that's it.
What's the best thing you've stolen from set?
I wouldn't say stolen, given. The best thing I was ever given from set, believe it or not,
Thing from set.
my Keurig coffee machine. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I got that thing when Keurig like first came out, and those things were, how much were they when they came out? Like $500 or something stupid. They're like, hey, Boston, you drink a lot of coffee. You want this Keurig? I want the, yeah, yes I do. I've literally not bought coffee for myself in like 12 years. Because every set that I'm on, they have K-cups, they have coffee, they have like whatever. And so they'll like give me like a bunch of like K-cups to bring home on every show I've ever worked on. And so like it's been like 12 years since I actually bought coffee.
I was gonna say it's this.
Yeah, see, and they even on Avengers they even gave me a coffee mug. They're like, you like coffee? And they gave me a coffee mug from the writing department with Thanos' hand on the other side.
that like a custom mug that they
Yeah.
make just for the
Yeah.
crew?
Uh-huh.
Pretty cool.
Do you have a favorite place that you've traveled to due to work?
Actually, a couple. One was that beach that was on Jessica Jones because that was just like an absolutely phenomenal day. Georgia wasn't bad, whatever, but there are a lot of like spots in New York, believe it or not, that you would not know that you were in New York. We've been up in the mountains. We've been like all over the place. My least favorite, I spent so much time in prison that it's just not. Yeah, I actually have. I don't know if did I send it to you like movie set prison life?
Yeah.
Like yeah. Yep, right there. So again, so right there, you see how his ear is all messed up? The guy behind me in the green, that's called a cauliflower ear. That's when you get hit in the head a lot. Yeah. So those are two of the UFC fighters, and the other guy with his hair tied back. So I had to like fight these guys. Like, what? Yeah. You can like scroll through. It's like that was on Daredevil, Blue Bloods, Escape at Dannemora, I think, Blue Bloods again. But yeah, I spent so much time in prisons. It's just there's a black vest that I'm wearing in a couple of these. It's a weight vest. I'm an idiot and I wear like the 25 or 40 pound weight vests all the time. That's just what's that one with the women? Orange is the New Black. But yeah, so I wear weight vests all the time, and when I go into prisons, I have to tell them this is just weights and have them look at my vest. Oh, good. Except one prison I went to, he's like, I don't care. I was like, wait, what? He goes, if something blew up, at least like it'd be an exciting part of the day. I was like, you're not who I want working here, like at all. So yeah, so beaches are the best. Prisons are like the worst.
What were you in for Orange is the New Black?
I was a grip for a bit, like setting up like a lot of lighting, a lot of like the camera, like stuff like that. And then we had like one where I was just like some like random like background person, like I was in that picture, waiting for my wife to get released. And like then there was like a riot like outside, so like because I'm stunts, it was like ah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
What'd you do in Blue Bloods?
On Blue Bloods, I was grip. So essentially, I built like the set and set up like a lot of like the lighting and like stuff like that. I pushed the camera quite a bit. So like it was supposed to be like 2 or 3 days, and it ended up being, I don't even know how many seasons. It's in there somewhere. But I did like a couple seasons. I left to go do some movies. I came back for like a little bit. So.
How you said this is your official page?
Yeah. So on.
Do people look at it like?
Yes. Yeah. Some people do. Yeah, because like if they never heard of you before, if somebody like comes into your office like, hey, I want you to hire this guy Casey Roballo, who the f*** is Casey Roballo? I was like, oh, and they'll like actually pull up your IMDb page, and they'll see like a bunch of the stuff that you did.
So this is the Blue Blood, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how many yeah. So like and like they'll list like groups of episodes depending on the season sometimes. And so, yeah, I just like randomly.
What was it like meeting Andrew Garfield, if you ever met him?
Andrew Garfield, I did not. He was not on. He was on like different sets than I was. So when say we were on like stage like 14, they were on like 15 or 18. You know, so we like this, that, and whatever. And the funny thing with this I brought is because whenever you watch like any police show, any whatever, even what was it like Triple X with what's his face?
Not Vin Diesel.
Yeah. You all see like all like the flashes of like all the like the criminal photos and stuff like that. That's all crew and stunts. Like when I did that other one, that prison scene, it, like there was all like crew and stunts. And so if you're like one of the main people, they actually do stuff like this. And they make like these wanted posters. So this one passed that way. And so then when you get like arrested, shot, or whatever, they're like, oh, they're like holding, yeah, this is a guy from, you know what I mean? And so the suck thing is, they look so real that you do not want those things like out. You don't trust anybody but you to throw those things away. Like, yeah, no, because like if you saw that someplace and then like, oh, this is a guy coming to talk to us, you're like, no, I'm not, right? So I threw mine away. Those are completely shredded and they're not here.
We're about 5, maybe a couple more questions.
Yeah, last couple questions. What do you got?
How long do you go from? You said like you go like you don't have like a current thing you're working on anymore. How long do you go with them?
Like literally, it's up in the air. You never know. I'll get like sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 days without a project. Sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 months. But the flip of that is sometimes I'll be on something that's only supposed to be like literally a day. Like I did Saturday Night Live. It was just a day. It was this episode with what do you call it? Adam Driver, the Darth. What's his face?
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, what you said. Didn't he get like a Darth title, or he's just Kylo Ren?
It's just Kylo
No,
Ren.
he's not even worthy. Pitiful. He's got like
Disney, what do you expect?
he's got like really big ears. Like holy yeah, when he shaves his head, his ears are like whoa, it's crazy. So they just had me like as like a stormtrooper thing, and just that was it. And so sometimes it's just like a quick day like that. Sometimes you get something that's supposed to be a day, and you end up there for like 6 months. You know, so it's just you literally never know. So like right now, I'm not doing anything only because like the writer's strike and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the longest I've gone without working has been like 2 months, and that was because it was winter, it was cold, and I don't do cold at all. I hate being cold. If you have to wear more than 3 layers, I'm not showing up.
So when you speak French, do you actually?
Fencing?
No, French. Do you actually
Oh,
speak
French? I used to. I lost it. I haven't like spoken French in probably like 14 years. Like one of my kids is actually like learning French, and a lot of things that he says, I'm like, oh yeah. So like I'll like I pick up on it. There are certain things where if you're immersed in them, they come back to you. Kind of like like fighting or like hell, like riding a bike, rollerblading. If you go like 3-4 years without rollerblading, and then all of a sudden you like strap on a pair, your ankles are kind of wobbly for a little bit, but then all of a sudden your body remembers. We were traveling. My wife and kids came down to visit me, and on the way back we stayed at a hotel, and outside of our door there were like 3 or 4 people like having a conversation in French, and see, I can't even remember now because I'm not in it. In French, I had said, excuse me or pardon me, and I walked by, and when I came back up, like, oh, and I was like, oh yeah, I had like a full 5-minute conversation in French, and then walked in my room, and my daughter was like, were you just talking to the people in the hallway? I was like, yep. And my wife was like, you remembered your French? I'm like, I guess, because I didn't say anything that made them look at me funny. We actually carried on a full 5-minute conversation, and then I've not spoken it since. So I have no idea. Like my daughter, who's 21 now, when she was 9, was convinced I was a spy. Because like there's a gas station near us. Of course, I'm speaking English to my kids. I get out. The guy pumping gas is from Guatemala, so I spoke to him in Spanish. And the guy inside is from East India. And so I went in there and I greeted him in Hindi, and I was like speaking to him in Hindi. And I walked out, and my daughter's like, "You're a spy!" Like no. And I was getting gas for my wife, and I was getting my car, and because I had to go to work. And she's like, "Well, you don't know Russian." I kissed her on her forehead and said, "Das vidanya, littles." And she just stared at me, and I put her in the van, and I left. It's like, when what I said to her was, "I love you, see you later, little bear." So yeah, you once you're immersed in something, you like totally remember it. I remember like a little bit of sign. Spanish is like here and there. That's actually like one of my like nationalities, and like, but I only remember it when I'm speaking to my cousins or my grandmother, because it's just like it's what you're used to. But yeah, could I just like sit here and carry on a full conversation to like out of the blue? No, couldn't happen. You have to like just like be immersed in it.
We're gonna wrap it up, so maybe besides the 4 tips that you gave them, one final message, like students that are thinking about doing this as perhaps a career? Or
Like to be like absolutely blunt, if you're thinking about getting into like any sort of like film, TV, like whatever, and doesn't matter if you're like you want to be like back there, if you want to be on this side of the camera, if you like whatever part you want, I'm gonna be blunt. Just do it. Screw what anybody else says. Screw anybody who tells you like, oh, that doesn't happen a lot around here. That's not that possible. Whatever. I never thought doing stunts was possible. And next thing you know, I'm like free falling 25 feet under like a pad because I got shot. You know what I mean? Just find the path that works for you. Literally, screw everybody else that tells you you can't do it. That's, you know, you won't find that advice in a fortune cookie. But seriously, screw everybody else who says you can't do it. And like, I guess like the PC way is always do your best. I don't know what part you want to quote me on, but you got the real version. Screw everybody else. Do what you know is right for you.
Okay, all right. I'd like to thank Casey for coming in. I'm going to get you.